Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Chainlink and look to see where it currently is after our most recent video a few days ago on it. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we did a video a few days ago on Link, and one of the things we noted, we had a lot of custom charts, and this one we're just going to be pulling up TradingView. One of the things we discussed was that, it is getting pretty undervalued against Bitcoin, at least by historical standards, and that in terms of its USD valuation, it really hadn't been doing that poorly. Now, it has underperformed recently compared to some other cryptocurrencies, but it also did a 10x earlier this year. After this 10x move, it pretty quickly came down and then came into this channel here, right, for a few months. And then we came back down for a little bit longer. And now it seems like at the present time, we've kind of broken out and we're starting to trend higher again. So one of the key areas I think that we're going to want to watch with Link is the prior all-time high around $20. Okay, this will be a key level to watch. This is when a lot of irrational money came into the space. And then probably got and immediately felt trapped. One of the things that I said back then was that, while I think the money coming in up here is not the smartest money to ever exist, to put it nicely, that Link would probably bail them out in the not so distant future, right? It probably would bail them out in the not so distant future. And we've already been flirting with valuations $17, $18. We had a wick earlier to around $18 or so, but around 16, 17 bucks, we're already around that range where it's bailing out some of the people that came in at one of the worst possible times after it was up 10x in a relatively short period of time. So the idea here is, well, if Bitcoin is able to sustain these levels and the altcoin market as a whole continues to appreciate, it seems like Link has now joined the party. Now, one of the things we know historically is that if Bitcoin is doing very well, then Link tends to lag behind a bit. But then once Bitcoin cools off, that usually is able to give Link legs to start running itself. So, if you're watching Bitcoin skyrocket, and if it's going to 37, 38K, 39K, 40K, something like that, I don't necessarily expect a major move out of Link. But if Bitcoin can still stay somewhat grounded, which it hasn't been able to do in a long time at this point, it continues to move up, hopefully we would get a move by Link in the not so distant future. One of the things we can note is that from the bottom here, which is when we had a capitulation wick, we watched this live on stream, Link is up, in fact, over 100%. More realistically, a lot of people had the opportunity to buy Link recently around $10 or so, and from there, it's still up 50%. So while it may be underperforming other parts of the market, it still is performing fairly well for a coin that went up 10x at various phases during 2020. So from the bottom to the top, Chainlink went up approximately 10x or so. If we take a measured move to just get the exact percentage, which I suppose we should do, you can see here, from bottom to top, it went up around 1,444%. So, as I said before, one of the things we've noted with Link is that give it about a year or so, and historically, it's given you a 10x, right? Here's a 10x. Here's another more than 10x. Here's more than a 10x, right? So far, give it about a year, and historically speaking, it would give you about a 10x. Another thing we noted is that the time between peaks has gotten shorter so far, right? 500 something days, 216%. This is peak to peak, 422 days, 311%. If we were to put in something like this again over the next over 300 days or so from that point, then it could imply, and if it went up even another 100%, then it might imply around $100 Link by this summer. Now, that is a somewhat outlandish prediction, of course, to say anything's going to go up 10x. But then in hindsight, once it does it, you look back and say, oh, well, look at that. It went up 10x. So we're not saying that it has to do that by any means. But again, as I said in a video a few days ago, when Link was at $13, $14, and I said when it was at 7 and 8, I still think this is a coin worth having. Now, we don't know what it's going to do in the short term. Obviously, a Bitcoin capitulation would likely lead to an immediate Chainlink capitulation, not only against USD, but also against Bitcoin. This is just common sense by looking at the market, but that doesn't necessarily preclude Link from going on a run later once Bitcoin stabilizes. And it also doesn't preclude it from going on a run now if Bitcoin can calm down for a few days. So we want to keep a close eye on the markets. Things can get out of hand during market conditions like this. As you can see, the entire asset class is essentially exploding right now. The total cryptocurrency market capitalization is approaching 1 trillion. So this is a pretty exciting time for Link. We can also look at the Link Bitcoin valuation. This is one of those things we looked at a few weeks ago, and noting that against Bitcoin, it was kind of hopefully completing a bubble blow off top, right? The bubble top being 170,000 satoshis. This more or less being our mean, somewhere in this ballpark. This being, our major move, followed by our bubble downtrend, followed by despair, and then hopefully back up to the mean to get back on track. Okay, that's what we're looking for. That's what we want to happen. We know that Link bottomed recently around 34,000 satoshis, and it's already back up to 46,000 satoshis. So in the short term, it's actually doing fairly well. And over the last week, it's up 47%, 48%. It's, it becomes apparent how extended the asset class as a whole when people start getting upset about only a 47% move in a week, right? When it's only going up 47% in a week, obviously there's something wrong. But anyways, going back to Link, it has been doing well over the last day or so, for sure. It's moved up significantly. I mean, it was just $14 a day or two ago, and now we've been flirting with around $17. So hopefully we'll see this continue to move up. One of the things we will take a look at is, again, just the period that we've seen here of it. It's essentially just been moving sideways more or less since September. It came up and then it came back down, but it hasn't really been doing much of anything substantial since September. And only recently have we seen what might be a breakout. But as we mentioned, it is simply too early to call at this point. At this rate, right? If we were to continue moving up at this rate, it would only take us a few more days to get to $20, right? If that, we might be at $20 in a few days if it continues moving up this quickly. So we're gonna keep an eye on it. We'll continue to do videos on Chainlink. If we get to a $20 link in the short term, obviously we'll do a video there and ring in the fact that we're back to the prior all-time high. And then once we get there, we'll set our sights on the sky and kind of make some dubious speculations on how far it could extend. Of course, all this depends on the entire health of the asset class. Chainlink is also prone to the health of the asset class, so keep an eye on that. With us approaching a market capitalization around 1 trillion, it'll be interesting to see how the entire asset class as a whole reacts to that. So hopefully this video has been informative. If you guys like the content, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. And remember, we also have the premium list that you can find in the description below as well. That'll wrap it up for the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.